Wow.
So Kelsey, if that's you, welcome. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
We're talking about how cold it is. I'm imagining maybe it's a little different where you are.
Just a little. I think it's about 70 degrees here.
Oh, you need serious prayer today, don't you?
It's a beautiful day. I'm sorry everyone's so cold.
That's awesome.
Great. Well, hey, it's 3:03. We'll go ahead and jump in. For those of you that are here, as we go through this, it's going to be interactive. So feel free to ask questions in the chat. We have a number of people on our team that can help answer some of the questions as we go. As I'm talking, I'll try to see some of that, but I may not see it all as it's happening, but we'll definitely try to get to those. If you want to share your camera, that's very welcome. It's great to see your faces and even like facial expressions and head nods and things like that. But also don't feel like you have to, right? So then let's see, we'll have a Q&A at the end as well. So, we can, unmute and just ask questions and go back and forth. So, so we'll jump in. Planning for Easter, Foundation for Success. My hope in this is, Easter is super early this year. It's March 31st, and we're feeling it on the outreach side, just as we're working with churches and trying to help them do branding and marketing and outreach and just so many different things. It's gonna come fast, right? Before we know it, it's gonna be a week before Easter, and it's like, shoot, I had all these plans and intentions, and it all just kind of slipped away. So our hope in this is to get some ideas, to start putting some foundations of plans in place. And if you can walk away with some ideas from this that you can run and take back to your church, that's a big win for us. And if our team can help with any of that, they're available and would be glad to talk to any of you. And it sounds like Mark was calling out Kelsey. It sounds like you guys just did something recently, and many of you may already be working with dedicated reps on our team as well. So let me get over here. Let's see. So we just want to say welcome. I'm Jamie Stoller. I'm Vice President of Marketing, Sales, and Partnerships at Outreach. And then also joining is Jake Ellis, who's our Director of Business Development.
Yeah, so glad to be here, everybody. Leading our business development team. And just a couple weeks ago, I stepped out of full-time pastoral ministry as well, which I was doing that for the previous decade of my life. So a lot of, hands in work in the local church. We know what you guys are doing. We love it. And we're here for you.
Jake, where are you located?
So I'm over on the west coast of California, the Central Coast specifically. It's exactly halfway between Los Angeles and San Francisco. So it's not quite as nice as Hawaii, Kelsey, but we're hitting about the 60 range these days. So it's not bad.
Lori does not want to hear, or Jory does not want to hear any of that.
Sorry, Jory.
And I'm in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I've seen a couple faces, people on our team that are on the call. Mark's in Sherman, Texas, north of Dallas. Tim is in Toledo / Michigan. Mary Beth is in Fort Worth area. Saw Carrie's in Colorado Springs. So we've got people from all over on this call. Just real quick on this, I love this saying, so glad you're here. I just want to dwell on this real quick before we move on. This is one of our handheld signs to greet people with as they're coming in the door. And I mean, just today is Tuesday, so Sunday we had a couple of visitors, and I just love making a point of going up, shaking their hand, looking them in their eyes, and just saying, we're so glad you're here, because you never know what somebody's going through. So as we get through this session, I just want to challenge you to focus on the opportunities and not the obstacles. this is something that's been standing out to me lately. And we all have plenty of obstacles within our churches, within our lives that we're faced with, but don't focus on that, focus on the opportunities. I'm just going to touch on 3 slides talking about de-churching. There's a new book out called The Great De-Churching. I'm going through it right now. If you get the opportunity to pick up that book, it's a pretty new book within the past 6 to 12 months or so, but really incredible. So de-churching, the definition there is adult Americans who used to attend a congregation monthly or more frequently, and now less than once per year, seldom or never. And when we talk about the focus on the opportunities, not the obstacles, we know that a lot of people are leaving the church, but there's opportunities within this as well. So de-churching, a quick note. So the size of people de-churching, 15% of all adult Americans have de-churched. That's 40 million people. 15 million of those left evangelical churches. That 40 million people, that is more than the all the Billy Graham crusades, plus the first and second. What's the word I'm looking for? Matt Ritchie, help me out here.
Yeah, first and second Great Awakening.
Yes, thank you.
Crusades combined.
Yeah, 40 million people, and this is just in the past, couple decades, I think. So first and second Great Awakening plus all the Billy Graham crusades combined, that's a big problem. But the opportunity is over half of the people who have de-churched are willing to come back. So over half are willing to return. So even as there's plenty of obstacles facing our churches, our culture, our society, our communities, there's plenty of opportunity here. So today we're talking about planning for Easter. Hope is not a strategy. I've seen Sean Lovejoy, if you're familiar with him, use that phrase a lot lately. And so it's stuck with me a little bit, just as I see it over and over. Hope is not a strategy. So a few things we'll be talking about over the season. Number 1, marketing and outreach. So that's what we'll be focusing on today. And then we have a couple more webinars over the next, from now up till Easter, where we'll talk about one specifically, assimilation through attractional branding, and then retention and nurturing. I think the other webinars have slightly different titles, but today we'll be focused primarily on marketing and outreach. Okay. This is a kind of that stat that's been around a long time. And what I find is this continues to remain true. 82% of non-church people say they will come to church with a friend or a relative if invited. 82%, right? So let's say that's 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 people say they will come to church if they're invited by a friend or a relative, somebody close to you, right? Looking at some of the top inviting tools to help with this. So one, postcard mailings, we'll dig into that just a little bit. Social media advertising, personal invite cards, and then outdoor signage and door-to-door invites with door hangers. For today, on this part of it, we're primarily focusing on postcards, social media, and personal invites. Now, with postcards, I hear, I guess direct mail in general for me as a marketer, there's no way I would ever cut direct mail from my marketing strategy. It feels too risky. We track things on our end, and there's always, positive ROI there. But that tracking is only going to be good as the tracking mechanisms you have in place, right? So some of you may have tried direct mail in the past and say, well, it didn't really work. We didn't get the results. But we need continual branding and exposure with that and all three of these. So we'll dive a little deeper. When you're looking at those three things, postcards, social media, invite cards, which of those should you do? What should you do? I would say use more than one method. That goes to the point of multi-touch marketing. If you look up, some marketing statistics, they'll say you want 7 touches, and it takes people 7 touches to make a decision. Matt, who's on the call, he was part of Church of the Highlands out of Birmingham and pastor at some of their campuses. They're saying internally at the church was 8 is great. 8 touches, in terms of touches. So I like how that rings a little better than 7 touches. 8 is great. So keep that in mind as you consider your strategies, really like for Easter, but really all the time, just as you do continual outreach and you're focusing on getting more visitors, right? And don't just stop at one attempt is what I want to encourage you with. If you do one invitation card to one person, they're going to need multiple touch points, right? Like they might get a personal invite from you. They might see it on social media. They might see the outdoor banner. They might get a postcard in the mail. Then they see somebody else talking about it in their groups, or their kind of people groups that they do life with. You don't just stop at one attempt. We need multiple touch points, and I put on there just Jesus, 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 right? Like over and over again to make an impact. A couple things on postcards. One, this feels a little bit promotional, and it kind of is. I just want to throw this out there. Like as you consider postcards, you might have a local printer that you can go with. And if you have a relationship, do that. But with outreach, we have a low price guarantee on postcards. There's some postage increases happening. We are not raising our prices this year. Well, at least during Easter season, as far as I know. With that, so we're absorbing that. We want to make it as cheap as possible for churches, and then you can pair your postcard with a Facebook ad for increased exposure and response rate. So right now we have. I'll just do this plug for postcards. You can get 20% off with addressing with this code. It's EOS24. I think that stands for Early Order Special 24 for 2024. But down below it says, according to Gallup, 95% of millennials say they love getting mail. So I hear people say, oh well, that's a old school marketing thing. Do people still do that old school stuff? Well, it's interesting because like the younger crew actually loves getting mail because everything has gone so digital, right? This is I just threw this in here. This is a video showing our web press. So this is an Easter postcard mailing, I believe, from last year, just for one church. You can see we do reel-to-reel printing. So it'll print on both sides with variable data with the addressing, and then it goes reel-to-reel. Then it comes over to this machine here. These are also Easter postcards, so it'll come over to this machine and get cut. So thought that was interesting. One advantage of postcards is you can easily reach every home in an area, or you can narrow down specific demographics. So when you think about doing a postcard, it's like, where do you start, right? So if we want to try to get a little tactical on this, when you're looking at postcards, where do you start? Well, you probably want to start with like your design. What do you want to say on your postcard mailer? What colors do you want it to be? Do you want it to be Easter design, very Eastery around your Easter message? Do you want your church's branding on there? What are the headlines that it should say? Should it say you're invited? Should you put the the sermon series headline on there. Our team can help you with that. If you need any design help, we've got hundreds of designs to choose from. We can help you customize it. We can design it full custom for you. Or you can take one of our templates online and you can go online and customize it yourself. So on the advantages with the postcard, when it says easily reach every home in an area, or narrow down the specific demographics. So say if you're in Chattanooga, Tennessee, where I'm at with my church, we can draw a radius of 2 miles, 5 miles, 10 miles around the church, and I want to hit every single home with that postcard mailer, right? So we can do that. So now that becomes a saturation mailing. And if you have a list of people you want to send that to, we can merge that in. But I know where we're at, there's some businesses around there, but there's also a lot of new developments happening maybe 15, 20 minutes away. And we know other families within the church that are coming are in those new development neighborhoods. So what we'll do is we'll draw a circle around the church with a radius, but now we're also going to go and select these other new build neighborhoods that are happening because people are moving in, they're looking for churches. So we can get very specific with those areas, but also with demographics. We can say, hey, I want these areas and families with a median income over a certain amount, right? So we can help you with all of that. Some obstacles with direct mail postcards: postage can be expensive. And so you'll want to be smart about who you're sending to, right? Some advice with postcard mailers, what I say is make this a primary tool you rely on throughout the year. So plan on doing postcards throughout the year, build that into your budget. If budget is a concern, focus small while you refine your timing, your messaging, and call to action on the card, then build from there. So you can also add a digital element such as a QR code that links to your website, or a SMS code that begins text conversations with somebody. And I'm going to pick this apart into two pieces. One, I've been doing direct mail marketing for a long time, and whether it's for churches or ministries or packet mailers, and what I've learned is when I say here, timing is important, messaging, design, and the list, right? So who are you sending to? You may have contacts in your database that you want to hit. We can help you with that. But if you need help with the list, that's all part of our services that we provide. So we'd be happy to help you with that as well. And then the second part of this is, adding that digital element with a QR code. So that can be used in a couple different ways. So, QR codes, we've all been through COVID, right? You go to a restaurant and you scan it and it pops up basically a web page of some sort, right? Or a menu. So we can certainly add a QR code to your postcard mailer. That can drop on your website. That can go to your Facebook page. That's pretty straightforward. Or we also have some services for free through our partner Glue that we work with, where we can set you up with a free account inside of Gloo, Gloo. I think it's gloo.us, gloo.us. So you can go in there, create a free account, and claim a free toll-free phone number, and then set up texting sequences. And you can do. Thank you, Carrie. Carrie just posted in the chat. She said, if you want more information about QR codes, this is a helpful information page. So yes, I encourage you to check that out. But with the QR codes, basically you can start to engage people who receive your postcard even before they visit the church. So that's an interesting element. Here's a picture of some postcards that we did last year. This one's interesting because it focuses on 3 different services there. This is one of our templates, I believe. All right. See, next I'm going to move quickly to social media ads. So I'm going to try to move quickly through these 3 things. The first one was direct mail. This section is social media. And then the last piece is invite cards. And then we kind of wrap it up, Q&A, we can get some interactions going. So social media ads, posts versus ads. So a post is if, I know many of you know this, but in case you don't, maybe this is helpful for you. So a post is you go onto your Facebook page and you just do a simple post like service starts at 11 a.m. Can't wait to see you. You're invited, right? And then you hit post and then that goes out. So those posts are really only going to be seen by people that follow you. Or if somebody goes into that post and they like it or they comment on it, then the algorithms within the social media platform may allow that for their friends to see it, right? But an ad, you're paying money to now have that post be promoted. So you can promote a post, or we can create a full ad for you. You can it's not too difficult, right? You can create this ad on your own. If you've got some people in the church, I encourage you to do that and use social media as part of your outreach strategy. If you need some help with that, we've got a number of different packages available. We can help you with design. We've got a lot of pre-designed templates ready to go, even with copy that you can customize. And our team, we've got a team of, I think 15 to 20 people, including customer service, that can help walk you through some of the stuff and just really take it off your plate and make it easy for you. So, and we even start, I think, as low as like a $300 package, and up to a couple $1,000s a month if you are a little bit more advanced. And on the advanced end, I'll just give a quick plug that if you are that church where you may be spending a lot more on your social media and you want to get a little bit more advanced, we're doing some beta testing right now with a lot of plan your visit stuff that Matt Ritchie on this call is working on. So we'll run ads, get people to say, yes, hey, I'm interested, I want to plan a visit. They put in some details, and then that triggers a whole bunch of text follow-up sequences and email sequences that your team can now dialogue with. So we've got some stuff like that happening in the background that we're working on testing and building. So if you're interested in that, just reach out to us, drop your name in the chat, or reach out to anyone on our team, and we'd be happy to filter you in the right direction. So ads are for promoting events, speakers, movie nights, special services, Easter, fall, Christmas, barbecues, baptisms, all of that, right? And then we mentioned this on the last slide, but bundle an ad with a postcard for increased engagement. So imagine sending out a postcard that looks just like this. Easter, you're invited. And now you have a social media ad that's hitting Facebook and Instagram that looks exactly the same. So now you're getting those multiple touches of like, oh, I just saw this. Oh, here it is here on my phone too. So that goes to that 7 touches, 8 is great. 7 touches, 8 is great. Also great for planning your visit or need prayer campaigns, which is kind of what I mentioned there a second ago. Look at the stat at the bottom. 74.2% of US adults are on Facebook. So if we want to be in the conversation, we need to meet people where they're gathering, right? Some advantages of social media ads: it's affordable. You can start with any size budget. You're meeting people in a space where the conversation is happening. A couple obstacles is thinking that you lack the technical knowledge. That could maybe hold you back, right? If you feel that's you, reach out to us. We can help walk you through it for as little as $300, right? And we do hundreds and hundreds of social media ads for churches every year. every season, really. So we've got a team and a system to make that very, very easy for you. So if you just want to offload that, let us take that off your plate, and we can help you with every aspect of it, from setup to design to execution, follow-up ideas, etc. Okay. Okay. This is interesting. So I was in Chicago a few months ago for Evangelical Leaders Fellowship, and David Kinnaman from Barna was doing a couple presentations, and these two stats stuck out to me. He said 67% of pastors say sharing the gospel with non-Christians is my church's top priority. Okay, that sounds good. And then 5% of pastors say my church is very effective at reaching the unchurched. Little typo there. So it's like, okay, I see that. It's like there's opportunity, right? Like let's Sunday we came out of life group, and we were talking about Jake. I know you and I had a little conversation yesterday about this, but we were talking about the difference between like being baptized in the Holy Spirit and being filled with the Holy Spirit. And one of the guys, he's a judge, he talked about how someone told him one time it's like buying a new truck and having a warranty on that truck, and then you have it in the garage, like whether you have it in the garage or you're out mudding, right? Like that warranty is still there, but basically it's like, hey, I look at this stat, it's like, let's get some mud on the tires, right? Let's go have some fun and tell people about Jesus. All right, last section to this is about invitation cards. In my opinion, I think this is the number one most effective way to do outreach and get visitors into the church. So it makes it easy to invite people, and I'd say it's the most effective, and I'd say it's probably also the cheapest. So out of social media ads and direct mail mailers, I'd say if you're not doing anything else, at least do this. Like you can get, for less than $100, you can get I don't know the exact number, but I think a couple hundred invitation cards to give to your members and help them make it easy for them to invite. You can integrate digital by adding QR code and that text prompt series. And I'd say when you're rolling out invitation cards within your church, make it known, make stage announcements, put it in the seat back pockets. If you have chairs or if you have pews, you have those little slots, put the invitation cards in the back of the seat. You can put them in, make mention of them in your bulletin inserts, or you could even stuff some invite cards inside your bulletins, right? Or you can do some card displays, which I'll show you an example of a mock-up we're working on right now for that. And the biggest thing here is just get members involved in inviting. As you think about inviting more people to church, you don't have to own this all by yourself, right? Like if you want to really have this become infectious within your church and a movement, if you will, happen, we just got to equip the saints, to do ministry. So there's that quote again at the bottom. 82% of non-church people say they will come to church with a friend or a relative if invited. 8 out of 10, right? You're going to get some rejection, and that's okay. You invite someone to church and they say no or not now. That's one more touch point, one more seed being planted. So we're excited about that. Couple popular types of cards: 2.5 by 2.5 cards. Here's an example of one. If you can see, I think I got a blur on my thing, but real simple. It says you're invited on it, and then the back will have an address and service times. So you're invited. Another option is business card size. Here's an example of, everyone knows what a business card size looks like, right? My personal outreach business card says reach more on the back. But I really like real simple invite cards that just say, hey, you're invited, and keep the just key messaging really simple, right? You don't have to, we have some bigger sizes like these ones here, 3 3/4 inch square and 4-inch circles. So those give you a little bit more room to put some information on. And even when you go bigger, you can add as much as you want. I know some churches want to have like the full gospel message on there, and that's great. And then others just really want simple. So I'd say what I would encourage you to do is, as you work on your design, whether you're doing it in Canva, you have design, Photoshop, InDesign, any of that, or you're working with us, we've got templates that you can go in and customize. Just keep it really simple. Right. The biggest thing is just to get these in hands of people. Okay. Here's a couple of examples. Here's one on Easter. This is interesting because it's promoting 4 different services, right? Very simple design. You're invited. Here's a couple. I went through my photos from Easter last year. So here's a couple. I think all of these designs you're about to see are ones that we have templates for, and people just went online and just customized them themselves. Creekside Church, New Beginning Baptist. This one is really popular. Easter is big, church name is big, dates and time. Yeah, here's another one. Designs for every kind of different church. This one's deep blues. Here's the back. So you'll see here, you're invited Sunday, April 9th, 8:30, 10, and 11:30. You're invited to celebrate Easter at Miamisburg Church, Christian Church. You'll experience a welcoming atmosphere with a powerful message of hope. The kids will have a blast with activities designed specifically for them. And then their website and address, right? So biggest things here is you're invited, when and where, right? There's another one, Rockwell City Church of Christ, Euclid Avenue Baptist. I think that's in Cleveland. You notice like so many different designs here to choose from. This one is interesting. I just want to call this out because celebrate Easter, where and when, but now they have a couple other cool call outs. Free breakfast at 9:30. That provides some incentive for people to show up and to show up early, and a free egg hunt, which is going to be fun for the kids. Here's the back of that one. Let's see, I think this copy at the top is kind of our normal copy that can be customized, and then they specifically call out their free breakfast at 9:30, Easter worship service at 10:30, and egg hunt at 11:30. And then the where and how, when is on there too. And a great use of a QR code. It says, do you know Jesus? So I'm guessing that's going to go to their website with some information about, learning who Jesus is. This one's a little different. This is more of a general time, to use any time of the year. Have been in a church a while? No problem. We're saving a seat for you. Hope Baptist Church. So a couple advantages of invite cards. It's super affordable, likely your highest return on investment. And an inviting church is a growing church. An inviting church is a growing church. An inviting church is a growing church. Obstacles, you need people to do the work of inviting. I see that as an opportunity, but there is a genuine obstacle there, right? Like we have to communicate what we're doing as a church and get these into people's hands. Advice. I'm long-winded on this one. So always having invitation cards on hand, both in the church and in your pocket or nearby. Have a central location in the church where anyone can stock up on cards so they're prepared for conversations they may have throughout the week. Rather than simply telling people to invite, share stories from stage about conversations you've had with people that have led to an invitation. Include other voices by allowing different people to share, right? Because you might not, have an opportunity to invite someone every single week, but I bet someone within your church is, right? And so give them the opportunity to come up and just kind of share. And I would say, and as you share, I would encourage you to not just, hey, look at this amazing story. Everything went so perfectly. I invited them and they came and they gave life to Jesus and now they're baptized and now their whole family has changed. That's great. But I'd also encourage you share your failures too, right? I was at a restaurant and I was talking to the waitress and she just flat out told me no and she got offended. And, tell those stories too, because it's going to provide a learning opportunity for everyone in the church of oh, maybe I should do that differently and learn from his mistake, right? So I encourage you to share from the platform of the pulpit and allow others to share as well. And then, just saying this can start a movement within your church and really encourage others to invite. So I encourage you in that. This is something that we don't have available yet, but it's something we're working on, and we're always trying to innovate and just simple ideas. What you're seeing now is going to drastically change, but the whole idea is, hey, this is actually on a corrugated material. We're probably going to do this on our rigid board material, so it's going to be a little different, but can we do a design on here that says you're invited or be an inviter, right? And then we have a central spot within the church somewhere where we are actually affixing these card holders to the sign, right? And then on this one, we just use double-sided tape, right? So we'll work on a nice message that makes sense for your church here. And then, have these maybe on a stand. So we ordered this stand thinking, oh, this is going to be perfect. It's great. And then we ordered it and it's oh, it's really short. This will work well at the church if everyone's 4'11", but I'm 6'1", and it was too low for me. So we're working on some new stands for this specific example. So these are, I'd say, coming soon. So keep your eye out for this. But then these two on the right is also interesting. One here, we're just, putting them on with magnet clips because we have these metal walls. But what we're leaning toward is just like our rigid art that we have on our website, different material. We'll put them on the wall with those command strips, right? So that'll be sticky on one side, on both sides, connect it. And then, if you need to take it off, just pull down and then you don't have a big mess to deal with. But what I'm planning to do at my church is we're working on a couple concepts right now where we'll probably have a central location with a big message like this with a whole bunch of slots for invite cards. And maybe they'll all match, but we may even just do a couple different designs, knowing that the design I'm going to choose is going to be different than Joanne and different than John, right? So we're going to do that. But then the other thing I'm working on is I'm looking to do kind of a smaller version of this and have it throughout different places within the church. So I want one by each of the doors where it's maybe 12 inches by 24 inches. And then there's 1 or 2 card holders at the bottom. And just as a quick note, Carrie, I think you're on the call. We were talking about this the other day. I'm reading this book right now where it talks about I was telling Carrie, if somebody asks me if I'm a runner, now I will say, yes, I'm a runner. I used to run track competitively in college, and many years after, dealt with a lot of injuries. I'm old and slow now, and still have nagging injuries. And so I've been hesitant to like say, yes, I'm a runner. But ultimately, like if I'm strapping on my shoes and I'm going for a run every once in a while, like, yes, I'm a runner. Cool. All right, there we go. But similarly, it's like, the reason I mentioned that is like with something like this, one of the messages I'm thinking about doing is like, we are an inviting church. Take one, be an inviter, right? Like go ahead and own that, right? Like give them the ownership of like, yes, this is who I am. I'm an inviter, right? Like I'm gonna go out and share this with people, right? So here's an idea. A couple other final ideas about doing outreach and attracting visitors. Door hangers are easy. Outdoor banners help communicate service times, especially for Easter. If you may have just like your normal service time, but a church down the road, they're opening up a third service, right? And so you've got to communicate that. So outdoor banners are an easy and cheap way to do that. Here's just a quick look at our large format production facility. One of those areas, there's a bunch of banners there from a few orders that came through. We do have offer right now for 3x8 banners. They're only $48.30 when you use that code EOS24. Go online. If you have your own design, we can certainly take care of you. If you want to choose one of our designs, we can help you customize that, or you can do it online. If you designed it in Canva, we have Canva templates available as well to make it easy to bring over to the website and then just upload it. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, here's a quick video of some door hangers we did for Beacon Church. This is an Easter one last year, I think. Here's the front of it. Yeah, Beacon Baptist Church, celebrate Easter. You're invited. So just as a couple final thoughts, churches who are most effective at reaching new people create a culture that does these two things. One, they focus on frequently inviting the unchurched or de-churched. And two, they focus on hospitality, right? So the big takeaway there is like, hey, let's invite more people, and then let's make sure that they're going to have a great experience when they come through the door, right? Quick note, that early order special that we mentioned, this code works on all these things. So you can get a 2x6 indoor banner with an X stand for only $59. Roll-up banner with economy stand, I think it's only $99. Outdoor banners are $48. We have some select flag banners that are only $39.50 while supplies last. So there's my quick plug for that. Here's some visuals to go along with it. Just want to plant those seeds. Okay. So indoor banners, outdoor banners, 20% off direct mail addressing if you need help with that, and then 50% off flag banners. And there's select designs that are 50% off. Okay. And now we're in a session of Q&A, so feel free to unmute and just ask some questions, and we can dialogue, or you can put your questions in the chat as well. And Tammy asked, when is the next session, or do you have slides? I think somebody shared the slides there. And then we also are recording this, I believe, so we can share this with you afterwards. And then we have 2 more webinars throughout the season leading up to Easter. The next one is February 7th. So this webinar is specifically, my hope is just to help start to plant some ideas to get you thinking about Easter. I know my church, it's hard to even be thinking about Easter right now. And so, some of you may be way ahead of the curve, which is great. But if you're like us, it's like, oh, Easter's coming. We should probably be thinking about it. And the fact that you're here now, let's get some ideas in place. And then the next one, we're going to talk about taking some of those next steps with those plans and then going deeper in some additional things. So, all right, questions? Elsie asked a question. She said, how do you track engagement? How do you track who is coming because of postcard mailer versus social media, et cetera? So great question. So I can talk, but I've also been talking a lot. Jake, anyone else on the team, if you guys want to jump in, any of you have any thoughts on that?
And I can mention something quick. When I talk about tracking on postcards, it is tough, right? Because unless you're collecting the cards, you don't really know, right? Or unless maybe you have a QR code that takes them to a website and you're tracking the analytics there for signups and things like that. One of the ways churches do it specifically at Easter, if they have an egg hunt for kids, is they put a little starlet on the card that says, bring this card to your egg hunt for a free gift or for your children, or an extra bag of candy or something like that, right? And they will bring those, anything extra for the kids, food, fun things, they will bring those and you can collect them. And then you can look at how many you collected compared to how many you sent out and kind of get a rate, right, a response rate for you. You could get a little creative with social media, maybe do a different landing page or something like that and see the traffic that comes there as well as we aim that there. So the answer is there's some creative options. We'd love for you to kind of take that lead there too, but also talk with us and we can share with you more about other churches try out and have used effectively.
Yeah, I love that, Mark. It's hard for it not to be at least a little bit anecdotal. Like, it's hard to put exact numbers on it anytime you're sending a physical thing like that. But I love that. You're basically building in some kind of incentive to get them to bring that card to your service and then creating some follow-up from there.
Yeah.
Also, can I just throw something in?
Sure.
Another, again, anecdotally, but we have had stories over the years of crazy things, like people buying a house, moving in, and they're like cleaning out the kitchen drawers, getting ready to put their stuff in. And in the back of the drawer, they find a postcard that a church sent to the family that lived in the house before them 2 years ago. And they look up the website and they go to church. I mean, you just never know. Like, even though you may mail 5,000 postcards into your community and maybe you don't get a lot of traffic that season, you don't know when God's going to use that card to really impact someone's life. And they may stick it. We have something when we work on postcards, we call it the fridge factor, which is like, hey, is this something that somebody is so cute? They'll be like, oh, I'm going to stick that on my bulletin board. I'm going to stick it on my fridge. And then maybe 3 months down the road, they're like, I really think I should take the kids to church. Where's that card? So you never know.
I was in a conversation with a guy. I was actually at a what do you call it? Where like you get invited to a movie set, a set visit, where you'll get invited to a movie set where they're doing some filming, and one of the guys that was there is like all sold out for Jesus now, and he's like a big influencer of like inviting people to movies and buying out theaters, and so the producers just love him, right? But he was telling me like he was strung out on drugs, lost his family, got an invite in the mail, postcard in the mail, was not in a place at all to hear it, and he kind of like threw it on the counter with a pile of stuff. His life was a hot mess, and then he started. It just planted a seed with him, and then other people started telling him about Jesus. And finally, like he was cleaning up, found the postcard, went to church for the first time, and then they're like, hey, next week, can you be a greeter? And then next thing you know, like he's at this like set visit with movies and inviting people to movies, and now he's sold out for Jesus. So, hey, Matthew Smith had a good question. He said, what about timeline? How far in advance of Easter do you think is best to mail the cards and post the ad? So this is both a postcard question and a social media question.
You want me to jump in on that?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. So when we do social media packages, we look at your earliest event, right? And then we, depending on your package, whether it's a 10, 12, or 15-day event, we lead that up to that number of days right up to your event. So it goes right up as close as possible. With postcards, we work with you on that. It's an estimated 1-week window of delivery, but again, it's going to depend on what you're putting on your cards. So we're already having these conversations with churches. They're already placing their postcard mailing orders, and some of them are just advertising Resurrection Sunday, but a lot of them actually are doing Good Friday on their card. They might do Palm Sunday, or they might have an event that's outside of the church, like an egg hunt or something else going on, a potluck or something like that. So it's really up to you, and our team will help guide you on some suggestions. But just so you know, a lot of them right now for March 31st, they're looking at an estimated window of March 14th through the 21st, and that's giving them a good cushion of time, depending on what, no matter what events that are going on there. And that way, because it's an estimated window, since the post office sometimes are busier than other, it gives you a cushion. So if there's any sort of slight little bump or something like that, we don't think it's too early and not too late for your events.
So Mark, question for you. If you're targeting, say, March 14th, that you want the postcard to start landing in homes, when would you need to have that order in and kind of finalized? Like say if they did it through outreach, I think we have a postcard deadline for Easter, but what are your thoughts on that?
So there's actually 2 deadlines right now. It will depend on when that window is. And when we do your custom quote for you, we'll be able to give you a deadline date based on that window. But right now, the one we're focusing more is the promotion, right? We're taking 20% off the addressing portion of your mailer on top of free shipping this season. So huge savings are available. But the deadline for the 20% off is February 2nd. So anytime between today and then, you save that money. So that's really the deadline we've been focusing on, is to save the money. But depending on that window, it could be near or closer to the end of February, maybe the first few days of March.
Yeah, I'd say if the closer you get to the end of February, the tighter, the more stressful it's going to be. And if you submit a design, like you design in Canva and you didn't use our template, then you submit it and then there's some things wrong. It's going to require some additional back and forth, which could start to like truncate the timeline. Now you're getting into rush scenario and rush fees. And so, so sooner the better in that, but in your mind, maybe think of like the end of February at the very, very latest to get a postcard mailing in order to have it hit like 2 to 3 weeks later, right?
Yeah. This is my 12th Easter. I'm just going to tell you the best piece of advice we could give you is to don't procrastinate. Work on this with us now. Get this off your plate, because as you know, the closer you get to Easter and you're planning your events and worship practice and sermons and everything, we want to take that stressor or make one less thing on your plate before you get there. So yeah, definitely reach out to us earlier than later and we'll walk you through it.
Put in some actions to things. I'd say if you have a designer or somebody on your team that you rely on for those things, I'd say make an action item for yourself to send them a note today or this week, text or email or however you do that, Slack or whatever. Talk to them about it. If you are not quite sure about the design, go to outreach.com, click on Easter. There's a ton of designs there to choose from. You can customize any of those however you would like. We can help you with that. So whatever you need, we want to help take that off your plate and make it easy for you. So anyone else have any questions? George Hurt. Hey, where are you located, and anything we can answer for you?
Hey, I'm in Los Angeles / Pasadena, and thanks for asking. I just wanted a little bit of clarity when you're using the word touches. I've heard that used on Sunday morning as relates to people coming in. When you were using it in your context, it seems to develop. I want to just get clarity. Is that including social media? Is that just means that's being used to reach out to people?
When you're you cut out a little bit on my end. Did you say in terms of like getting visitors?
Touches, the term 7 or 8 touches.
Oh yeah. So yeah, 7 or 8 touches. Like think of it as think of it with your outreach or your marketing efforts, right? Like if I'm throwing a community event, like at the park near you, if I have a yard sign out, you see it, that's one touch. If I do a social media ad, you see it, that's 2 touches. If I do invitation cards and I hand one to you, that's 3 touches, right? And so each one of those marketing pieces that kind of touches that person is a touch. Yeah.
Any
And so-
moment of awareness.
What's that, Jake?
I was just saying, any moment where you just create awareness, even just for a second, with this person, and it hits their brain. Oh, church, Easter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'd say, just getting it out there, like this is a terrible example, but like my wife, she would do a garage sale and it's always so much work. And I always question, like, was this even worth it? But she always makes it worth it somehow. And part of it is she puts signs everywhere. Like she'll spend like days like making signs and signs and signs, and she's thinking through every single intersection. And when somebody comes to this intersection, just continuing to guide them along until they get to our house. I'm thinking this is such overkill, but like then we have people show up because there's clear signage and there's multiple touches guiding people through the whole experience just to get us there, right? And it's like if you have a garage sale or a yard sale and you don't put any signs up, guess how many people you're going to have, right? Maybe only people just who happen to be driving past your street, right? So the more you can get the word out, the better, right? And I'd say, just more is better, and one thing that's interesting is what we often hear is from some churches is like, man, this helped me look like when you choose some of our designs, and we try to make it really, really easy for you. Like social media, we have a product there called Outreach Social where you can set up your posting for Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I think we're working on TikTok right now. You can set up your entire year in like 5 minutes with your logo on it, right? For auto posts every single day. And what we find is like a lot of churches are like, man, this really made it look like our church has this huge design department. And thanks for making it so easy, right? And then churches come and it's like they expected us to be way bigger than we are because of how some of this stuff looks. So, yeah. Any other questions, anyone? All right. Well, we are at our time. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. We're so appreciative of every one of you. I know each of you has your own stories, your own obstacles, your own opportunities. And I'm going to end. I just want to pray if I can. So Father, we thank you for today, God. We thank you for providing for us and for working in and through each of us. God, we lift up everyone that's on this call. And God, we just ask that you pour your blessings upon them. And as they develop their plans for Easter, leading up to Easter, and even beyond Easter, Father, we just ask you give them divine wisdom and continue to speak to them. And Father, help them get the teams in place to help make things happen and reach their communities for Jesus. So Father, we're just so thankful for the small part that we get to play. And we hope that this time together helps spark some ideas that can be big game changers within their churches. So Father, we thank you and we praise you in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Thank you, Ann. Thank you, everyone.